Welcome back to another episode of Polite Conversations. I'm Anna, and I'm here with my colleague Ben.
Hey everyone, in today's episode, we're diving deep into the art of communication in the workplace. How to speak politely and compassionately, especially when things get tough.
Exactly. We'll cover some key phrases, tips, and examples that can make a huge difference in how we communicate with others. It's all about creating a positive environment for collaboration and teamwork. We'll explore how to communicate in an effective, respectful, and supportive way, and how small changes can make a huge difference in your professional relationships.
Alright, let's dive in and start with the basics of polite communication in the office.
So Ben, let's start by discussing why politeness is so important at work. Why do you think it plays such a big role?
Great question, Anna. Politeness is important because it sets the tone for professional relationships. It helps create an atmosphere of respect and understanding. When people feel respected, they're more likely to collaborate, share ideas, and be open to feedback.
Absolutely. And it doesn't just make the workplace more pleasant, it can also improve productivity. For example, instead of simply saying "send me the report," you could say "could you please send me the report when you have a chance?" That way, you're not demanding, you're making a request while respecting the other person's time.
Exactly. It's a small shift in language, but it shows that you're not assuming the other person has nothing else to do. You're giving them the space to respond without pressure.
And that's important. We all have busy schedules, so when you make polite requests, it gives people a sense of control over their time. It's a great way to build rapport.
Right. Politeness is also about being mindful of tone. If you ask for something in a rushed or stern tone, it can sound like a command, which may cause tension. But if you approach it with warmth, it makes the exchange more cooperative.
Definitely. And don't forget about nonverbal communication, like smiling when you ask a question. It may sound simple, but it actually adds a lot to the politeness of your communication.
You're absolutely right. A friendly tone, both in voice and body language, can make even an email sound polite and welcoming.
Now let's dive into compassion. Compassionate communication is about understanding others' feelings and showing empathy. It's key in fostering strong relationships.
It's more than just being polite, it's about showing genuine concern for the people around you. For example, if you notice a colleague is stressed, instead of saying, "Why haven't you finished the task?" you could say, "I can see you're really busy. Do you need any help?"
Exactly. You're showing compassion by acknowledging their stress and offering support, rather than criticizing them. It creates an environment where people feel comfortable opening up and sharing their challenges.
Right, and compassion doesn't just mean offering help when someone's struggling. It's also about offering encouragement and recognition when things are going well.
Yes, compassionate communication can also involve acknowledging someone's achievements. Instead of just saying "nice job," you could say, "I really appreciate the effort you put into this project, and it shows in the results." It's more specific, more meaningful.
I love that. Specific praise can be a real motivator. And showing compassion also means understanding that people have different communication styles. Some people might not be comfortable asking for help, so it's nice to offer it without being asked.
Exactly, it's all about reading the situation and responding accordingly. And remember, even small gestures like asking "how's your day going?" or "is there anything I can do to help?" can go a long way in showing compassion. Alright, let's move into some role-playing to really show how we can communicate politely and compassionately in different office situations. We'll do 10 different scenarios, where I'll demonstrate the impolite version, and then Ben will show you how to make it polite.
Sounds great. Let's get started.
Situation 1. Asking for a deadline extension.
I need an extension on the project. I don't have time for this.
I've run into a few challenges and may need some extra time to complete this project. Would it be possible to extend the deadline by a day or two?
See the difference? The impolite version sounds demanding, while the polite version explains the situation and respectfully asks for an extension.
Exactly. The polite version also gives the person the context, so they understand the reason behind the request.
Situation 2. Asking for help.
You need to help me with this right now.
I'm having trouble with this task. Could you please help me when you have a moment?
The polite version shows appreciation and allows the other person to prioritize their tasks, making them more likely to help you.
And it gives them the space to respond when they can, instead of making them feel pressured.
Situation 3. Providing feedback on a presentation.
Your presentation was all over the place.
I think your presentation had some great ideas, but there were a few areas where the flow could be clearer. Let's work together to improve that.
The impolite version feels harsh, while the polite version offers help and suggests working together to make improvements.
Giving constructive feedback with empathy helps people feel supported rather than criticized.
Situation 4. Declining an invitation.
I don't want to come to the meeting, I'm too busy.
I appreciate the invitation, but I have some pressing deadlines that I need to focus on. Can we reschedule the meeting or discuss the points later?
The polite version still respectfully declines, but offers alternatives. It's important to show appreciation for the invitation.
Exactly. Even when declining, you can remain considerate and suggest another way to meet the need.
Situation 5. Addressing a mistake in work.
You messed this up again. Fix it now.
I noticed an issue with this part of the work. Can we go over it together and make sure it's fixed?
The polite version focuses on the task and suggests collaboration, instead of blaming the person.
By framing it this way, you're inviting teamwork and offering support.
Situation 6. Asking for time off.
I need a day off. Give it to me.
I'm planning to take a day off next week. Could we discuss the schedule and make sure my workload is covered?
The polite version gives the manager or colleague a chance to plan for your absence and shows that you're thinking about the team.
Exactly. It's respectful to consider how your absence might affect others.
Situation 7. Giving instructions.
Do this now and don't ask questions.
Could you please handle this task when you get a chance? Let me know if you need any clarification.
The impolite version is more demanding and doesn't leave room for questions. The polite version invites cooperation and ensures clarity.
When you make your instructions clear and polite, people are more likely to follow through without feeling resentful.
Situation 8. Complimenting a colleague's work.
That's a good job, I guess.
Your work on the report was impressive. I especially liked how you organized the data. Great attention to detail.
The polite version is much more specific and sincere. Compliments go a long way when they highlight what you truly appreciate.
By pointing out specific aspects of someone's work, you show genuine recognition, which encourages more positive behavior.
Situation 9. Asking for a favor.
Do this for me now, it's urgent.
I know you're busy, but would you mind helping me with this task? It's a bit urgent, but I'd really appreciate your help.
The polite version respects the other person's time, while still communicating the urgency of the request.
It's important to be considerate when asking for favors, especially if the request involves extra work or effort.
Situation 10. Asking for clarification.
What do you mean? That doesn't make sense.
I'm not sure I understand completely. Could you clarify that point for me?
The impolite version might come off as dismissive, but the polite version encourages further explanation without criticizing the other person.
Asking for clarification in a polite way ensures better communication and shows that you're open to understanding.
And there you have it. 10 different situations where you can choose to be polite or impolite. And as you can see, small changes in language can completely shift the tone of a conversation.
Exactly. These polite alternatives invite cooperation and respect, while the impolite versions can often cause tension and make things more difficult. It's all about creating an environment where people feel comfortable communicating and working together.
Remember, the goal isn't to be perfect, but to be thoughtful and considerate in how we communicate.
I think these role-playing scenarios really show how easy it is to make that small shift from impolite to polite communication, and how much of a difference it makes in our daily interactions.
Absolutely. If you start applying these small changes in your language, you'll begin to notice more positive responses and stronger relationships in your workplace. Another area where politeness and compassion are crucial is giving and receiving feedback. Let's talk about how to do that respectfully.
Feedback can be difficult to give, but when done correctly, it can lead to improvement and growth. The key is to focus on the behavior, not the person.
Right. For example, instead of saying, "You're not doing this right," you could say, "I noticed this part could use some improvement. Let's go over it together."
That's much better. It's constructive and shows a willingness to collaborate. You're not criticizing the person, you're pointing out an area for improvement and offering support.
Exactly. And when receiving feedback, it's important to stay open-minded and not get defensive. You could say, "Thank you for the feedback, I'll work on that."
It's all about maintaining a growth mindset. When we embrace feedback as a tool for improvement, we create a more positive and supportive work environment.
And remember, when you're giving feedback, always highlight what the person did well before pointing out areas for improvement. It shows appreciation for their efforts.
Now, let's talk about conflict. Disagreements are bound to happen in any workplace, but it's how we handle them that really matters.
That's true. Instead of getting defensive or confrontational, we can approach conflicts with an open mind and a willingness to find a solution. For example, if two people disagree, instead of saying you're wrong, try saying, I see your point, but here's how I see it.
Exactly. By acknowledging the other person's viewpoint, you show respect for their opinion. You're not dismissing them, you're just offering your perspective.
And remember, it's important to remain calm and composed. In tense situations, take a moment to breathe before responding. This shows that you're not reacting emotionally but thoughtfully.
Right, and always focus on finding a solution, not just winning the argument. The goal is to come to an agreement or understanding, not to prove who's right.
Exactly. By maintaining a respectful tone and compassionate approach, we can resolve conflicts in a way that strengthens relationships rather than damaging them. So to summarize, here are the key takeaways for communicating politely and compassionately. Always use polite language like please, thank you, and could you. Be aware of your tone and body language. Make sure they match your words. Show compassion by acknowledging others' feelings and offering help when needed. Frame feedback constructively, and be specific in your praise. Handle conflicts respectfully by listening, offering your perspective, and focusing on solutions.
And remember, the goal isn't to be perfect. It's to build a positive, supportive environment where everyone feels valued. By being polite and compassionate, we can all contribute to a healthier workplace culture.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks so much for listening to Polite Conversations. We hope these tips help you communicate more effectively and compassionately in your own workplace.
If you have any questions or want to share your own experiences, feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. See you next time.